I just gave birth to my baby in the hospital. Right then, the news suddenly broadcast an extreme heat warning. The doomsday heat apocalypse was coming. My heart was filled with panic. I quickly called my husband. I told him to come pick me up at the hospital at once. But after the call connected, it was not my husband's voice on the line. It was his secretary speaking. "Ms. Lin, your husband asked me to tell you. He has to prioritize his own safety first. The outdoor temperature has already hit 54 degrees. Do you want him to risk his life just to get you?" In my past life, I tried desperately to tell them over the phone that I had built a complete shelter under our villa. There were also custom heat-resistant vehicles in the garage. I begged them to drive over and take me and my baby home. I also told them the shelter was fully stocked, with enough supplies to survive until the end of the apocalypse. Yet my husband never came for me. My newborn daughter and I were slowly consumed by the scorching heat in the hospital. We passed away in endless pain and suffering. After my death, my soul drifted back to the shelter I built with my own hands. I saw my husband snuggling up closely with his secretary. And inside the secretary's belly, she was already 5 months pregnant. 5 months later, the extreme high temperature finally ended. They became a happy little family. My husband never once searched for the remains of me and our daughter. It was as if we had never existed at all. When I opened my eyes once again, I had returned to the exact day that the apocalypse arrived. "Ms. Lin, you can't be this selfish. If Mr. Liu goes to rescue you, you two will both lose your lives." Listening to that familiar yet harsh voice on the phone, I suddenly snapped back to reality. I'm reborn. I quickly lowered my head and saw my baby daughter alive and safe in my arms. My heart tightened sharply with sorrow. In my past life, I watched her suffocate in the brutal heat, her tiny little face turning bright red until she drew her last breath in my embrace. Meanwhile, her biological father, Liu Zijo, was hiding safely in the shelter I personally built, fooling around with Su Xiaowen while I held my daughter in my arms once more. I hugged her tightly to my chest. I kissed her soft young face repeatedly, filled with heartache. On the other end of the phone, Su Xiaowen grew cold when I stayed silent. "Mr. Liu will give you 3 days. If you manage to survive, you will still be his wife. If you die out there, he will have no choice but to marry me." Right after speaking, she hung up the call directly. In this new life, I will never reveal a single detail about my shelter to anyone. I am a top national-level scientific researcher. 1 year ago, I already foresaw this deadly high-temperature disaster. Due to a strict confidentiality agreement with authorities, I never told Liu Zijo the truth. I secretly built a solid shelter beneath our villa, hoping our whole family could survive this natural disaster. But now, this home will no longer welcome Liu Zijo. I will live well and protect my daughter alone. Right now, the hospital kept looping emergency news broadcasts. "Dear citizens, extreme high-temperature weather has arrived. Projected maximum temperature will reach 70 degrees. Please stay indoors to avoid the heat. Wait for official rescue arrangements." But rescue efforts were nothing but empty words. I understood this harsh reality better than anyone. Although the National Research Institute predicted this crisis 1 year prior. In this long-term extreme heat event, human technology at present simply cannot withstand such harsh and brutal climate conditions. We could not even accurately calculate the exact arrival time of this heat wave. On the day the heat apocalypse broke out, in only 1 hour's time, the temperature skyrocketed from 31 degrees to 54 degrees. Most people have no real concept of 54-degree heat. The human body regulates temperature through sweat evaporation. Once the ambient temperature exceeds 35 degrees, sweat evaporation efficiency drops drastically. Once it hits 54 degrees, sweat evaporation completely fails. The human core temperature will spike past 40 degrees. Within 10 to 15 minutes, a deadly critical temperature level is reached. Can shut down brain function at any moment, causing coma and suffocation. The drive from the hospital to my shelter takes a full 2 hours. Even if I found a car and ran the air conditioner non-stop, there were still countless other obstacles ahead. Before long, road surface temperatures would climb to 80 degrees. Ordinary car tires could never survive the entire trip. You would need to switch vehicles midway, repeating the process 4 or 5 times to make it through. But this disaster struck out of the blue. I had no way to arrange so many vehicles. I did not even have a single car to leave the hospital. Higher authorities knew the heat crisis was coming long in advance, so emergency orders were issued rapidly. Right after the news report ended, the hospital broadcast a new official announcement. "All patients and family members, please do not leave the hospital. By order of higher authorities, the hospital cafeteria will be open to provide emergency shelter and daily supplies." Panicked crying broke out inside the ward. I'm all alone at home. What am I supposed to do now? No one expected this sudden extreme heat. Others felt secretly relieved by their current situation. My home has nothing at all and my AC is broken. I'm lucky to be stuck in the hospital. Or I would have no food or water to survive. I held my newborn baby tightly in my arms, filled with anxiety over how to travel safely to my shelter. For ordinary civilians, staying in the hospital or returning home made little difference. The vast majority of people would not survive this catastrophe. After careful consideration, I decided to seek cooperation with a doctor who owned a private car. No one knew how long this doomsday disaster would last. Being a medical professional nearby would bring extra protection. The moment I walked out of the ward with my baby, my eyes widened in complete shock. Lu Zizhou and Su Xiaowen were walking out from the gynecology office together, side by side.